It's morphin' time. Pterodactyl.
Hi there, this is Datila with Rangers of Wrestling, bringing you the It's Wrestling Time post-show. And for tonight, I will be reviewing Impact Wrestling. And I just want to start off by saying Happy St. Patrick's Day, hence why I'm wearing my Green Ranger shirt. Alright, so tonight's Impact Wrestling kicked off with the Bullet Club in the form of Jay White and Chris Bay versus the reunited Motor City Machine Guns. Yes, tonight, the Motor City Machine Guns reunited. It was their first appearance as a tag team since the December 1st, 2020 episode of Impact. So this match did not disappoint. Let me tell you, it did not disappoint. I really liked it. There was so much going. There's a lot that happened. And so, where do I even start? There was a double kick to Chris Bay by the Motor City Machine Guns. There was actually, that happened twice, actually. And one of my favorite spots in this match was when Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin each had Jay White and Chris Bay in submission holds. I thought that was pretty cool. But in the end, and then there was one other instance where Jay White was pulling on Alex Shelley's hair while the ref was distracted with Chris Sabin, who was trying to tell him what was going on. But in the end, using the Skull and Bones, the Motor City Machine Guns win their first match back. So I was so excited, but here's the thing. There was a bit of I guess you can say there was a bit of a controversial finish because as they were pinning, I apologize for that. As they were pinning Chris Bay, Jay White attempted to break up the pin, but he got there like literally at the last second and Chris Bay's shoulders were down and he was arguing with the referee. They replayed it, I think, twice and it showed that. But still, Motor City Machine Guns, the decision was final. They won this match. But that leads me to believe we might have future matches between them. I don't know really what Alex Shelley's situation is. I don't know if he's back for good or if this was a one-time thing. But hopefully we see more of him and we get another awesome match between the Motor City Machine Guns and the Bullet Club because this was an amazing match. All right. So afterwards, we had Steve Macklin versus Rhino, which was another great match. As soon as the bell rang, Steve Macklin went immediately after Rhino. And Macklin was pretty much beating him down this entire match. But Rhino did get some offense in. But I have to say, my favorite part was at the very end when Steve Macklin gave the knee to Rhino and then he gored him. Yes, he gored Rhino's own move to pick up the win. I think that was pretty cool. But you know what? Rhino deserves that because Team Impact did not want Steve Macklin on the team because they didn't trust him. Even though that was Eddie Edwards doing, still, like, I can understand why Steve Macklin got offended by that, okay? So then we had a segment with the inspiration, just a very quick segment. That was crazy. What was crazy? The finish to the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Bullet Club or the Steve Macklin goring Rhino. So the inspiration basically tell Caleb that they know he meant to help them and they forgive him and just want to make sure he gets it right next time. And then Jessie McKay does her famous "Hey Caleb" to Kayla, which I thought was so hilarious. A little throwback to her when she would say, "Hey Kayla," so Caleb sounds the same. All right, so then we get a segment with Heath and Rhino, and Heath starts to ask Rhino, what happened out there, and they said they made a promise to themselves that they were going to become Impact Tag Team Champions, which did not happen. So they decided to reunite. Oh, Macklin gore to Rhino. Yeah, that was insane. I really like that. So he says that they decide to reunite and go after the tag titles to fulfill their promise to each other. And if Heath is wearing a Johnny Impact shirt. But here's the thing with my problem with this is we've seen Violent by Design versus Heath and Rhino. I got tired of that feud. I don't know about other people, but I know myself, I got tired of that feud. This is Impact's Achilles heel. They don't really have a strong tag team division. So I really do not want to see Violent by Design versus Heath and Rhino again. I do not, especially if they don't win. Like maybe a one more match and hopefully they win. If not, I don't need to see it again. I really don't. Then we had Larry D versus Bhupinder Gujjar. Great match by Bhupinder Gujjar. This is only his third match at Impact. He's got 2 victories over John Skyler. Impressive victories, I might add. So, I'm late, but can we talk about that moonsault from Deonna Purrazzo? Amazing. Yes, I'm going to get to that. I'm not there yet, but that was an amazing moonsault that she did. I actually really like that. Okay, so like I was saying, there was a sling blade to Larry D and then a backbreaker. He hit him with the knee. A stomp to Gujjar by Larry, and then the corner spear to Larry D was amazing, I might add. And Bhupinder Gujjar picks up the win, adding to his undefeated streak thus far. But what I liked was at the end, W. Morrissey comes on. He chases after Brian Mayers. He still hasn't gotten his hands on Mayers, but he will soon, eventually. He will. Just wait and see. He will. Then Raj then comes in. He raises Bhupinder Gujjar's arm in the air, but he's not having that. He is not having it. He's not happy about that. So he sends him flying to the outside of the ring. And Morrissey then hits him with the BQE, and he goes through the table. All right. So then we get a segment with Honor No More, and they're basically just talking about how Josh Alexander might still be under a code of honors. But here's the interesting part of it. So Alicia Edwards, Eddie Edwards' wife, confronts Maria. I like that stare down. So maybe we might get a match between Alicia Edwards and Maria Kanellis-Bennett. What do you guys think? You guys think that'll happen? I think it will. She says that she picked Impact over Honor No More, but still refuses to turn her back on her husband as he is her ride and die. And that Eddie basically tells her that maybe Impact is going down the wrong path. So I'm really excited to see where this is going. She doesn't want to turn her back on her husband, but she's siding with Impact. And she had that little stare down with Maria. I think she's going to wrestle Maria at one point. I think that's what it's leading to, honestly. So next we get to my favorite match of the evening, the Triple Threat Champ Challenge. Lady Frost versus Giselle Shaw versus Deonna Purrazzo for both the Ring of Honor women's titles and the AAA Reina de Reinas title. And like Night 08 brought up the amazing moonsault that Deonna Purrazzo did in this match. She did it to both Giselle Shaw and Lady Frost. That was amazing. I also really like that double German suplex that she did in this match. What do you guys? And then she also did a superplex to Lady Frost. I like that Giselle Shaw went for that running knee strike, but she ended up missing. That was, of course, Deonna Purrazzo stole this. She did the Queen's Gambit to Frost. And poor little Giselle Shaw tried to break it up, but it was too late, and Deonna Purrazzo retained. Amazing match. I mean, of course she retained. She's a Rutrosa for a reason. But, this was an incredible match. I really dug it. I really am liking this Champ Challenge, honestly. I think it's a great way for her to defend her titles. So then we get a backstage segment with Josh Alexander, who says that he doesn't the champ rules. Yes, she does. She does rule. I wonder who's next for her, though. I guess we got to wait next week and see who she faces. So Josh Alexander is saying that he doesn't think it's a mistake to go up against Matt Taven, and that he's been sitting at home and is basically ready to go. He says he's going to make an example out of Matt Taven tonight, so the rest of Honor No More won't get in his way. And he says that Moose will probably sign the contract in the most dramatic way. Spoiler alert, he's not wrong about that last part. Let me tell you. So then we get a Good Brothers segment. We find out that the Good Brothers are going to get their rematch next week against Violent by Design. And it's going to be a lumberjack match. And it's going to be surrounded by the tag team division. Don't get me wrong, I love Impact Wrestling, but they don't really have a tag team division. So I'm curious to see who's going to be out there. And he said that the winner is going to defend their tag titles in an 8 tag team elimination match at Rebellion. So I'm so excited because I really do want to see who they're going to put in this match. What do you guys think is going in this match? I think maybe they might get Rich Swann and Willie Mack. If Finjuice comes back, maybe Finjuice, maybe GOD, since they have unfinished business with the Good Brothers. And I can't really think of anybody else. See, that's how small the tag team division is. Oh, and Heath and Rhino. So then we get Jonah versus Ziggy Dice. What do I need to say about this? What? this is basically a squash match. It really was. The talking point was at the end. So PCO, if you guys recall, at Sacrifice, we had Jonah versus PCO. And PCO got wheeled out to the arena on a stretcher. Rosie Montana saying that's going to be a good match. I think we'll see a returning tag team. Probably, but the question is who? So he got wheeled out on the stretcher. You would think since he's the Canadian French Frankenstein, they would maybe put bolts and try to make it seem like he's going to waking up that way. But I like how he stood up. He stood up, made his way to the ring. They got into a brawl. Security tried to break him up. That wasn't enough to contain them. They still tried to go at it. And then PCO with the deanimator from the top rope to the security guards. He was trying to aim for Jonah, but he moved. So those poor security guards were the end of it. But I'm really excited about this. Like, that was one hell of a match that they had. And how PCO is still alive and still standing after that match is just beyond me. But what do you guys think about this? Like, I want to hear your thoughts and opinions because that was insane. So, after this, we get a Mickie James segment where she basically says her rematch with Tasha Steelz is a street fight, and Mickie James wants to be in Chelsea Green wants to be in Mickie James's corner, but Mickie James doesn't want her in her corner because she's injured. So if you ask me, I think they're planting the seeds for Chelsea to turn on Mickie James, if you ask me. I don't really think she's legitimately injured. I think she's probably faking it, and she's going to turn heel and turn on Mickie James. So then we get Masha Slamovich versus Arie. This is another squash match. So Masha Slamovich on a roll with these squash matches. Like I said last time, we have to eventually move on from this and give her a proper feud. So I'm curious to see how much longer she's going to be facing squash matches. Honestly, would like to see her go up against Deonna Purrazzo again. They had an incredible match last time they fought each other. So... Okay, so Ziggy Dice gets interviewed backstage, and he says that this is his second loss to Jonah. He lost his pride, but yet he's got the look, the charisma, the body, and can connect with the audience. He says maybe he just sucks as a wrestler, and that Myers cut him before he could reach his full potential. Maybe he needs to go back to a wrestling school. So this leads into a Johnny Swinger's Dungeon segment, which I thought was so hilarious. Johnny Swinger bringing back the comedy to Impact Wrestling. Rosie Montana says, I said that too. I see a heel turn for Chelsea. Yeah, it only makes sense, especially because her husband, Matt Cardona, is a heel, so it makes sense for her to join him. Hilarious segment of Swinger's Dungeon had me laughing. He was talking about how there's like intergender stuff in there, and then you see a guy and a girl in towels. You see a guy with like a leather suit, leather stuff around him, and a ball. And then Lance Storm comes out and says he does not advocate for Swinger's Dungeon, and it was just a hilarious segment. I cannot describe it. You guys need to watch that. You guys really do. So then we get the main event. It's Josh Alexander versus Matt Taven. This is a great match. Really great match. A total of 5 German suplexes to Matt Taven. So the first time, Josh Alexander tried to do 3 in a row, but he only ended up doing 2 because Matt Taven ended up turning things around into a swinging neck breaker. Of course, in the end, Josh Alexander hits the Seymour spike and ends up being victorious. So let's talk about what happens at the end. Moose invading Josh Alexander's house. Yes, because if you guys recall, Josh Alexander, Moose had to sign the contract. Josh Alexander already signed his contract, and Moose had until the end of tonight to sign the contract and turn the paperwork into Impact's office. So he drives up to Josh Alexander's house, and he hands the papers to Jay, Josh's wife, and tells him to turn the documents in because, you know, they live close to the Anthem offices. And his little boy, which I'm assuming is Lucas, because that was the little boy that was in the ring when Josh Alexander lost the title to Moose. He tells him to tell his daddy that he has a message for him, that he said hi. Ooh, Moose is a dead man. He invaded. Let me see. At least Moose didn't spear his son. That's true. Joe Shipley saying, I didn't catch Impact, to be honest. That's okay. But this Moose made it even more personal. than it already was. Like, let me tell you, Josh is not going to be happy that Moose invaded his house. He is not going to be happy. But overall, this was a great, fantastic episode of Impact Wrestling. I truly enjoyed it. My only issue with it is I really don't want to see Heath and Rhino versus Violent by Design again. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen next week. I really like the Triple Threat Champ Challenge and the Motor City Machine Guns versus the Bullet Club. Those were the two my personal favorite matches. Josh Alexander versus Matt Taven was good too, though. But that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching and for your continued support. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure you have a happy St. Patrick's Day. And I'll see you guys tomorrow after AEW Rampage. Bye, and may the power protect you guys.